Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Time to grab those early edges. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Cokin as we get ready for week 13 here of the college football season. Plenty of opportunities for you guys to make some money this Turkey Day, and it starts by, well, investing in the right knowledge and the right people like Mr. Cokin, who nailed his 5% play once again last week. Auburn, congratulations there, Dave. Just keep adding to that register now. That's 10-0 in college football, 5% plays. That is since October of last year, guys. It's not a fluke. 7-0 football, 5% this season. It's both NFL and college. It's 79%, 5% plays over the last 14 months. I'm just hearing a cash register, Dave. I don't know what that is. That little ringing going on in the back. Congratulations on another profitable weekend.
Yeah, this one was really lucky. Auburn was not the right side in this football game. They got gashed by Tennessee's running game. But Garantano did something he does literally more than anybody else in college football, which is throw pick sixes. And he threw a 100-yard pick six, which gave me a chance. Auburn then went up 17, gave up a backdoor score to put it back on 10, which is going to lose for most people.
Mm-hmm.
But the onside kick by Tennessee didn't work. Auburn had a short field, and it looked like they were going to just keep the offense on the field. But on fourth down, they decided to go ahead and try a 50-yard field goal, and it would have been good from 60. So they win by 13, and sometimes you got to get a little luck on your side. I did here. It counts just as much as if it was a 40-point win. Yep. And the streak continues. I've already put up my 5% play for this weekend. I really like this game. It's actually a game I had circled from last season because of what happened last season when these teams met. And I think the setup for it is really good. Now, it's not available. We're doing this on Monday.
Right.
It'll be made available for individual sale on Tuesday for $40. But for the people who subscribe to my all access packages, they've already got the play. Okay. So that's another reason to get the package. You save money in the long run anyway, and you get the plays right away.
Makes sense here, guys. And it's interesting too. We did get a question from Joshua, who watched the show last week, and he wanted me to ask you, he wanted to get your thoughts on buying back a play. He had said that he'd actually made a play earlier in the week. He said Tuesday or Wednesday, and I don't recall which one it was. He said, but by just before kickoff, he wanted to get out of that play. He wasn't comfortable with what it was, and he wanted to get your thoughts, Dave, with making a play one way earlier in the week and then buying out of it later in the week. And he wanted to get your thoughts on how to proceed with that or how to approach that.
Well, it depends on the line. If it's the same number, all right, so just take the big loss and move on. If it's a better number, then by all means, go ahead and do it because you might win both bets. It's a long shot, but you might. But if it's a worse number, you just got to let it ride because you can't take a chance middling yourself and losing two bets. So that's all I can say on that.
Dollars and cents, really, what it comes down to is, and like you said, how big a line move and how much money are you willing to put out there. So thank you, Joshua, by the way, for submitting that question. Let's talk a little bit about some of the recap here of what we saw in Week 12. Dave, before we get to the market movers, I'll start with the game that was at noon that a lot of eyeballs, man, a lot of people thought this game was going to be a blowout. Ohio State, Indiana, Big Ten. Indiana came to play. Now, I don't know if this says more about Indiana this game or more about Ohio State, and maybe this isn't the Ohio State defense we all think it is.
Well, Indiana showed a lot of character. They never quit in a game that they were not, they were pretty much hopelessly behind. So that was impressive. And Ohio State's pass defense has shown some holes. That could be trouble for them down the road. Maybe not so much in the Big Ten, but if they're in the playoffs, that's something to keep an eye on.
It's, big time to come in there. And we did, of course, see on the other side over there, get your thoughts about what Northwestern and Wisconsin was all about. I don't know if you had a chance to see that game, but What impressed you more there? Was it the inability of Wisconsin or the ability of Northwestern to get the job done when it came down to it?
Northwestern's really good defensively,
Whew.
and they disguised a lot of stuff against the freshman Wisconsin quarterback, and he just wasn't figuring it out.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't a blowout or anything like that.
No.
But Northwestern was the better football team in the game, and all of a sudden they are a team that has a chance to make a lot of noise. Wisconsin, I think, drops out of the playoff race with the loss.
Yep. And I don't know what this was here. The phone started blowing off early Saturday morning, Dave, especially here in South Florida. We were getting the alerts where Clemson and Florida State was just a very strange situation where it appeared that Clemson and Florida State, the officials from both schools, were not on the same page, and it ended up costing the school. It ended up costing the game. What do you think happened there? Because Dabo doesn't seem to be very happy with Florida State right now.
Not pleased at all. He's really upset with the Florida State administrators. Thinks they should have just forfeited the game. I tend to agree with him. I mean, you had plenty of time. And to do this a couple hours before game time, I don't know. That's at that point you just make the best of it and go out there and play the game or forfeit. These teams are trying to reschedule the game. Florida State might want to just not bother.
35. It was ridiculous what the spread was.
I bet Clemson in the game.
Did you really?
Yeah, I thought they were going to absolutely kill the team, and I don't think 35 will be the line if they do reschedule it. I think it'll be higher than that. Probably be 37-38.
Very strange. But we'll see what happens there as we progress here into the month of December. We can't get rid of this team, Dave. We've been talking about them over the last couple of weeks. Cincinnati against UCF. We kind of knew this was going to tell us a little bit about Cincinnati and what were they going to be able to do on the road. Big test against UCF. Did they pass in your eyes, even though they won the game?
Yeah, that was a real good win. I know Cincinnati backers weren't happy because the Bearcats had a chance to punch in a touchdown late and decided not to. So that cost Cincinnati as far as the spread's concerned. But that was a real good win for them. And maybe they've got a shot after all to make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll get screwed or not. But they're doing everything they can do to get themselves a chance to make the playoffs. They've got Temple this week, which they just have to show up, and they'll win that game. And then the big one at Tulsa. Tulsa just continues to find ways to win games in amazing fashion. That's next week. That could be the biggest game of the schedule.
Be very interesting. We always knew Cincinnati could play some defense, but Ritter and that offense appears they can go toe to toe with a team like UCF and go point for point with them. That's pretty impressive. A team that can't score any damn points. And I know 2 weeks ago we talked about this Penn State team because we just could not believe they were as bad as they appeared. And sure enough, they're as bad as they appear. What's going on with the Penn State program?
I think James Franklin has lost the team, and I think he might lose his job with this latest scandal that's taking place at Penn State. They just can't afford another scandal. And he had a problem at Vanderbilt, too, remember, his previous job. I think he's gone. I don't think it matters what they do the rest of the season. I think the players kind of know that, too. Uninspired performances one week after another. I mean, they're playing Michigan this week, which isn't much better. But I don't think Michigan's got the off the field problems that Penn State has at this point. Don't know that I'll play the game, but I won't be on Penn State. I can tell you that.
Now we talked a little bit earlier, a couple of weeks ago, about Iowa still kind of on the fence. Weren't sure about Kurt Branson, whether or not he had lost the team there. Are you impressed with what you're seeing? He's turned it around. All right, so you're impressed with what you're seeing there.
Well, they're playing pretty good football. And he's got tenure, let's put it that way. So kind of looks like he's safe at this point.
You mentioned Michigan. Thank God for turnovers in Rutgers because that game was another head scratcher with Michigan. I mean, you win, congratulations, in overtime, but my, oh my, man, it's...
No, they're not good. They switched quarterbacks, though, and that appears to be a good thing. They can still salvage their season if they win here, and then they've got the game still against Ohio State, and that's, obviously that's the one that matters. That's their whole season. I don't think they can beat the Buckeyes, but there's still a chance for them to pull things out. We'll see.
And, we haven't talked very much this year, Dave, about the refereeing. And neither the NFL, even though there were some questionable calls this last weekend, but Friday, talk to me about Purdue and Minnesota. That offensive pass interference call, like, what was that?
That's a bad call. And I know some people have said, well, there's an angle that shows that he pushed off. Well, he pushed off at the same time that his left arm was being grabbed by the defender. So it's a no call. It's just a no call. Purdue got robbed.
Big time. Absolutely. Great game by them, too, on the road in Minnesota. Great job, but they got robbed.
Backup quarterback, too.
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive job they did there. What do you mean? Speaking of backup quarterback, UCLA, we find out before kickoff, right? They're not going to have their quarterback that they've had there, Robinson, now for the last 3 years. Well, all of a sudden, a backup, everyone's like, what? Oh, my goodness, the line shoots up at Oregon. And oh, my, I give Chip Kelly credit, man, because that was the best offensively they've looked in a long time.
They played well and almost pulled it out. That was a good win by UCLA. So it looks a little bit like the two Southern California schools in L.A. are maybe having up seasons. UCLA did look good in this game. USC, granted, Utah was very rusty, and it showed, but still a good win for USC. And we'll see what happens.
Talk to me. This was one final, actually a couple games, and then we'll get to the market movers here, guys, for you. Don't forget, Dave's got his 5% play up and available to subscribers right now for this week. He won again with Auburn. Another opportunity for you to make it a very profitable Week 13 here in college football. It starts. We're getting yourself the all-access pass right now over at WagerTalk.com. Liberty, you had said it. North Carolina State, you hated the game because North Carolina State, this game meant nothing to them. They had no skin in the game here whatsoever. Liberty, everything to win, nothing to lose. And that field goal attempt at the end ends up getting blocked. But in your mind, did they outplay North Carolina State?
No, it was a pretty even game.
Yeah.
Liberty's had a great year.
Yep.
But the dream of being unbeaten is now done. Yeah. But the dream of staying unbeaten is still alive. Mm-hmm. And the Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina.
Yep.
Beats Appalachian State. That's a really good win for them against a team that's been the best team in that conference. And Coastal looks like they're going to have a perfect regular season.
Yep. Appalachian State got their quarterback back. There was some question as whether or not he was going to play. They were winning, come halftime, but what a second half by Coastal Carolina. A for real team.
Great adjustments at the half.
Yep.
And you can see why their coach is very highly regarded.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to be with the Chanticleers beyond this season. He's going to get a big job.
Yeah, despite that running back for App State, I think Joseph's there. He almost had 200 yards rushing in the first half alone. He ran all over him, but it didn't make a damn bit of difference. All right, let's talk about some of these market movers right now here, Dave. Early in the week here, kind of a interesting week in Week 13. What are you seeing as far as some of these market movers right now?
Well, both the Thanksgiving college games are moving. Colorado State's taking money against the Air Force, and New Mexico is taking money as favorites against Utah State. My numbers still haven't adjusted as much as they should for Utah State. They are not good. So he won't see me on either side in that game. New Mexico's battling hard, but they're not very talented. Moving to Friday action, I should say. We've got a holiday weekend. We've got college football action every day. There's money on Stanford showing at California. Looks like that number could get down to pick, maybe even Cal or Stanford going off the favorite in that game. It opened 3, and it's gone down. It's now 1.5. Let me see what else is happening. There's money on Wyoming against UNLV, which isn't terribly surprising. This doesn't look like a great matchup for the Rebels. A lot of money on UAB. That line's going all the way to 20.
Wow.
And statistically, they should kill Southern Miss. But UAB's been a funny team this year. They've had games where they have dominated, and a couple of them they lost. Central Michigan's taking money on the road against Eastern Michigan in a MAC game, and that gets us to the Saturday board. And we'll take a look here. We've got a flipping favorites. I don't know why Georgia State was ever favored in the first place against Georgia Southern, but that has now adjusted, and Georgia Southern is the favorite. If you got a chance to bet that early, that was almost a no-brainer. It's just on the power ratings, Georgia Southern should be the favorite in this game. They are now. Another game that's flipped is Missouri.
Yeah.
Opened as the favorite against Arkansas, and Arkansas is now the favorite. Missouri, a winner for me on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't beautiful in the process. They were 17-0 ahead and had some. Well, they didn't play well in the second half, but they did manage to get out with the win and the cover. Was happy to see that. Georgia's getting some money against South Carolina. Gamecocks did fight in the second half of the game against Missouri, and it looks like they've made a quarterback change at South Carolina as well. Let's see if we got a few.
They made the
here.
quarterback change at Georgia too. I think they seem to like that now as well. With Daniels now on the center.
I think Daniels will probably play the rest of the way for them.
Absolutely.
Actually, a little money on Florida State so far against Virginia. It's not mine, I can tell you that. Northwestern's getting some play against Michigan State. Penn State line's bopping back and forth at Michigan. There's still some people out there who think Penn State's the better team.
Wow.
And the number has come down a little bit in that contest. It's one of those deals on power ratings. Penn State still shows better than Michigan, but I learned my lesson with them a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
You will not see me on the Nittany Lions. The Maryland-Indiana game, they're betting Maryland in this one. It's come down. I think Indiana could be in a letdown spot. I know the coach had a great speech after the game, but they're going from Ohio State to Maryland. That's not. It's just not the same level of intensity. So I understand the line movement on Maryland there. I don't necessarily agree with it because if Indiana plays well in this game, they might be able to name the score. But that's what's happening. Kent State's taking some money against Buffalo in a MAC matchup. Kent State's looked pretty good so far this season. There's a little money on Western Michigan as big chalk against Northern Illinois. I'm scanning down here to find a few others. Troy is getting some play against Appalachian State. I think that makes sense. This could be a flat spot for App State as they're not going to win the conference. And strange position for them, having really nothing to play for. So that's something that, capable road dog getting more than 2 touchdowns is attracting some bettors in that game. A little money on North Texas at UTSA. Yep. Bear in mind, they absolutely crushed that team last year. So some revenge motive for Texas San Antonio in that game. And that's something I do pay attention to in rivalry matchups like this, in-state rivalry conference. And Utah's played pretty well. They've got 6 wins. They're not a great football team by any means. North Texas is very explosive offensively, but I think the motivation might be more on the Roadrunner. So if that line keeps going down, I might be getting involved in that game. It's possible. Coastal Carolina getting a little play, not as much as normal because the line's already big, but they are still getting betting action against Texas State. Texas State finally won a game over the weekend. Good deal for them. Auburn and Alabama, nothing much happening in the Iron Bowl. A little more on Alabama so far. We'll see if that changes during the course of the week. Texas A&M is definitely getting play against LSU. The Tigers didn't impress a lot of people with their win at Arkansas over the weekend, and A&M's playing really good football. They look like a legit top 10 team at this point. Money on Rice against UTEP. A little money on Mississippi State, the dog roll against Mississippi. Money on UL Lafayette. That line keeps going up as they play UL Monroe. It's a rivalry battle. And maybe the thought is that Lafayette, in a rivalry battle, they're going to want to play. And if they do, Monroe can't do much about it. And I think that's about it.
Nevada, hats off to them, too. Big win there coming from behind. That was actually a really entertaining game, watching them go back and forth. So pretty good.
A great chance to win it.
Yep.
Late after a bad turnover by the Wolfpack, but they just can't throw the ball.
Nope.
And, there was a guy wide open for a touchdown. The quarterback missed him. Aztecs just cannot throw it. So Nevada gets out of there with the win, and they're still unbeaten.
Yep, still good quarterback play, good offense, playing some defense. Pretty impressive for them. Not as impressive as Mr. Cokin is here. Another 5% winner last week, guys. Now 10-0 college football, 5% play since October of last year. 7-0 in all football, NFL, college football, 5% plays this year. 79% with all his 5% plays over the last 14 months combined. Bottom line, 5% play this week there. WagerTalk.com. Available right now, guys, for All Access subscribers only. Get to WagerTalk.com. Get the All Access Pass. Never miss a play here with Dave for the rest of the college football season.
And I'll throw this in. We've got a Black Friday special that's going right now. It's good for any handicapper on the site.
Right.
It's a full year, an entire year of selections.
Yep.
You get every play. So there's no add-ons at any point where, you got to pay extra for this. It works out to $2.73 a day.
Crazy. Yep.
It's actually, you want to make a long-term commitment to me or anybody else on the site. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
I mean, you're saving a ton of money because the full year package is like $2,000 and you're getting it for half that.
$1,000 off. Yep.
And again, it includes everything. So, if you're willing to make the investment in me, I'm going to return the favor with a lot of hard work and hopefully continued profits. It's been a very good 2020, and I expect it to continue.
I haven't checked this math, but our friend Johnny Detroit is giving me numbers that say $19.71 a week, guys. Think about that. $19.71 a week. And the numbers that I just gave you, 79% on 5% plays over the last 4. You're going to make your money.
Here's the thing.
It's crazy.
If you were to just spend the $40 each on 5% plays,
yep,
you'd spend more than that over the course of a year.
Yep.
So why not get everything?
Do it now. Black Friday, guys. It is BF 999 at checkout. That's BF 999 at checkout. Go get and invest in Dave. Partner up with them. Make it a profitable 2021. And on behalf of Dave Cokin, myself, Wager Talk, we want to wish you guys a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. We'll be back again next week. Looking to give you that early edge. In the meantime, best of luck with your plays, and may the winners be yours. Dave, we'll talk to you, man. Good luck.
Thanks, Joe.